Well, today we're on our way to Yorktown. Beautiful drive in.
Come on, come on. Lorianne and I are at Yorktown, Battle of Yorktown.
We used our National Park Pass to get into the Visitor Center and sat through a short orientation film. Then we walked through a mock-up of a sailing warship of the time. It was interesting that ranking officers slept in cradles, while petty officers and seamen slept in hammocks. Gun decks served as berthing areas when they weren't being used.
Elements of Washington's tent. His camping tent. Table. They're actually used by George Washington. Okay, so Lorianne and I are currently at Yorktown, and we're doing the audio tour. We visited the museum. It's a rainy day out, but that really doesn't diminish the importance of this visit or why we're here. One of the reasons why we're not probably filming as much is this is probably my sixth time here, and it's Lorianne's third time here. So we've actually toured this numerous times. I think if it wasn't a rainy day, we might be doing more walking around and checking out the monuments and the readouts and the siege lines and that. But it is raining, so we're taking the cheap way out. So.
In July of 1781, General Cornwallis moved his 5,500 soldiers to Yorktown to maintain better lines of communication with the main British army. Cornwallis also positioned a small garrison across from Yorktown to protect ships on the York River and to provide an escape route, one he would not be able to use due to stormy weather. The British utilized the rough terrain below the village to their advantage and constructed inner and outer defense lines.
To put things in perspective, here's the river, and of course Yorktown is up in this area here. When the Americans and French came, they built the first siege line down here. They called that the Grand French Battery, and that's where the artillery originally started to fire.
During the night of October 6th, under cover of darkness and rain, Allied troops constructed the first siege line. On October 9th, Allied artillery opened fire on the British, and the bombardment began. This artillery wore down the British garrison. The shelling wreaked havoc along the British position. Emboldened by the effect, Washington decided to start construction on a second siege line closer to Cornwallis's works.
After that, they built the second siege line that went this way. And what was important was to reach 9 and 10 so that they could close that second siege line all the way across. That second siege line allowed the cannoneers to fire directly into the British's inner defense line.
Here we are at the second siege line. On October 11th, Allied troops began this second line within point-blank range of the artillery of the British. The line was 750 yards in length. It stretched from the French sector to within 300 yards of Redoubt 9, but there it stopped. In order to complete the line to the York River, the Allies would need to capture redoubts 9 and 10. On the night of October 14th, French troops attacked Redoubt 9, while American troops stormed Redoubt 10, capturing both positions in less than 30 minutes. This allowed the Allies to complete the second line for siege artillery between the two redoubts. 3 days later, Cornwallis proposed a ceasefire.
9 and 10 are down this way. Even though it's raining, it's beautiful out.
On October 18th, 1781, officers from both sides met at the home of Augustus Moore to negotiate the surrender terms for Cornwallis's army.
The Moore House is an 18th century house. It's gone through numerous owners over the years, and it was even part of the Civil War in itself. It's an interesting place to visit, and there's no tours inside, at least not today. But it's beautiful grounds, and the river is right over there. All right, retired and traveling. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for following us. Cheers. Crossing over the dam, a lot of the George Washington soldiers crossed over this way.
George Washington's troops traveled this road. Troops! The surrender field.
Important to remember that Yorktown wasn't a battle per se against two sides, but actually a siege. Washington's armies fiercely outnumbered Cornwallis's. He wasn't able to meet them on the battlefield, so he was waiting relief from Clinton's forces, which never arrived. As we are now at the viewing stand for the surrender field, we must remember that Cornwallis has lost a lot of troops through the embattlements, the bombardments, the taking of the redoubts. With no recourse, he initiated a surrender of his troops. Here are some of the actual cannons or trophies of war that were taken from the British at the time. Cannon after cannon after cannon after cannon were taken away from them. So the Battle of Yorktown is over, but the war had not ended. Remember, Clinton still had a massive army up in the New York and New England area. This was just the beginning. It took an extra 2 years from the end of Yorktown before the actual peace treaty was signed in Paris. We got them to surrender, but remember that Clinton, with the Navy and his ships, were still trying to break the French fleet. You know, they came in and they lost one battle with the French fleet, but they did not initially turn around and go back to New York. They kept trying a few times. So if Clinton could have gotten some of the army in, it would have changed the whole battle at that point.
French Artillery Park. Ooh, there's one over here in the woods, which is cool. Cannons were repaired and stored here. The time-worn earthworks visible on each side of the road were for protection, probably built by the French soldiers who operated the park. Are we just driving through or walking or?
No, we're just driving through. I bet this is all shopping and all that down here. Welcome to Williamsburg. Here's our resort. Nice dining room, living room combination. Over there is a kitchenette, really kind of sweet. There's one master bedroom with a king-size bed, TV. The second bedroom, another king-size bed. Oh, I think that's a queen-size bed. Little patio here that walks out to a really nice little green space. What do you think, Lorianne? Are we going to be able to survive here?
I think so. I'm just about ready to start making ice.
Fire in the fireplace because it's only 69 degrees out. And we're coming here to Aberdeen Barn for dinner. Let's hope we can get in without reservations. Got a cow up on the roof. Cheers. Cheers. Jack and Coke.
So first we got cheese and crackers. Then they brought the salad and dished up our dressing. We got some warm rolls and butter. Now we're waiting on our steaks.
Steak. Not seafood tonight. Both Lorianne and I agreed we needed some beef. So this has been a very busy vacation here for us so far. The first week was filled with so much fun, adventure, and seeing some great people and friends. And now we're getting a chance to mellow out and wind down and just relax a little bit. We sure do like the variance in this schedule. We've settled down from living in hotels to now we're doing resorts and timeshares and things like that. So it's just been a different kind of living, and we're beginning to relax and just enjoy ourselves.